glad you're here. So glad it's sunny. Wow. December 1st, a very important day for so many reasons. And right now, why don't we start our important day by, if you're able, standing, and we'll sing into the service.
I am blessed. I am blessed every day of my life. I am blessed, 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 blessed. When I wake up in the morning or I lay my head to rest, I am blessed. I am blessed. I am free. I am free. I am free. Every day of my life, I am free, 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 free. When I wake up in the morning or I lay my head to rest, I am free. I am free. I am blessed. Let's sing it out together. I am blessed. I am blessed. Oh yeah, I'm blessed. Every day of my life, I am blessed, 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 blessed. When I wake up in the morning or I lay my head to rest, I am blessed. 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 One more time. I am blessed. I am blessed. Wow. I love hearing your voices this morning. Take a minute to greet some of those neighbors out there. Place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 Wow, we got a good group of y'all here today. If we need any more chairs, maybe we could pull up some extras in the back there. We would like to invite our kiddos who are here today with us to come join teachers up on the stage, and we actually have a really special thing to do before we send them off to their classrooms.
Yes, we do. So every December for the last many years, we have done what's called the Nature Advent. And this is a creation from the Waldorf education system. And it honors the fact that there is so much to be aware of and grateful for. And so I'm going to invite you guys, the teachers and the children. In this basket are things that you can pick one or two and put them on the altar here if you'd like to do that. And once you've done that, I'm going to have Leo light one of the candles. So go ahead and pick one of those. Go ahead. Yeah. That's a good one. That's a really nice one, too. There we go. We got crystals. All right. Let's see. Anywhere you want. There we go. Next week we'll have a different one. This is the verse that goes with what you guys put on there. The first light of Advent is the light of stones, the light that shines in crystals, in seashells, and in bones. All right. So Leo's going to light the first. It's always hard to light those things. It should be good. Yeah. There we go. And our first light of Advent is now lit. And now we can sing Hooray for the World.
Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. We got Mother Nature and the human race. The world's got trees and bumblebees, rivers and lakes and the open seas, mountains and valleys and animals too, and a sun that shines on me and you. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. Got Mother Nature and the human race. We got Mother Nature and the human race.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Leo Brody. I'm the practitioner, one of the practitioners for today, and I'm joined by Wanda. I don't know. Mary, right. Sorry about that. My teleprompter isn't working. So, right now, we're going to turn within just for a moment. Turn within to that presence that is always within us. That is the spirit of oneness, the spirit of truth, the spirit of love, that we can always remember whenever we want is here within us. And we turn within to that knowing that we are supported, that we can always rest in that presence and know that everything that we need comes to us when we open our eyes to see it and receive it. And so I know that this service is blessed, this service is beautiful, and so it is.
I'm letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, I am healed, I am made whole. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. healed, I am made whole. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, I am healed, I am made whole. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, I am healed, I am made whole. I am letting go, I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, I am healed, I am made whole. I am healed, I am healed, I am made whole. I am healed, I am made whole. Take comfort as I am. Surrender all need for a plan. Divine presence is always at hand. Take comfort as I am. Take comfort. Take comfort as I am. Surrender all need for a plan. Divine presence is always at hand. Take comfort as I am. I know there's only one moving me to be untethered, undone. I accept this love healing, breathing me whole, and give thanks for it is done. Take comfort as I am. Surrender all need for a plan. Divine presence is always at hand. Take comfort as I am. I know there's only one moving me to be untethered, undone. I accept this love healing, breathing me whole. I know there's only one moving me to be untethered, undone. I accept this love healing, breathing me whole, and give thanks for it is done. And give thanks for it is done.
Thank you. Here we go, here we go. It's a little echoey. I'm not sure. There? No. Weird. We had sound check earlier. There we go. All right, good. So if you are following along, all year we've been speaking about living beautifully. And last month it was wholehearted living in a broken-hearted world. And our last month is literally living beautifully, talking about that. And the actual whole title when I started the year was Living Beautifully in the Midst of Change and Chaos. Seemed a little long and also foreboding. And once I realized I was going to be transitioning and retiring, it was like, no, let's just do Living Beautifully. So the first topic of the month is our fundamental goodness. And, you know, when we can relax, can you relax? I have trouble relaxing sometimes lately, but when we can fully relax into ourselves and work with the dynamic quality of impermanence that we have going on in this world all the time, when we can relax and do that, we can drop into our fundamental nature, which in the Science of Mind teachings is goodness. So we believe that we didn't come into this life either as a blank slate. Any of you parents? Parents? Was your child a blank slate? I had 4. And no, not any of them were the same, and none of them came in just waiting for me to tell them what to do. Not a single one. So we don't think that. We also don't adhere to a theology of any sort, actually, but particularly a theology that says that we were born in original sin. We think that's actually kind of ridiculous. And so we don't think that, but what we do understand is that in every sacred human, there is a divine spark. And you can think of it in many ways. For example, thinking about how we're connected in the universe, you can understand that we're riding on a planet whose core is fire and whose life is given by a giant fireball. And so it makes perfect sense that we're divine sparks. You know what I'm saying? But taking that a little deeper, we also understand that every single being, any sentient life at all, contains that spark of the divine, is literally a manifestation of the infinite one, whatever you want to call that. And the other interesting thing for us is that if you were at the Q&A last week, someone asked the question about, does Science of Mind believe in reincarnation? And it's such an interesting answer because I've been in this tradition for 40 years. And so I got into it just as all the old timers who had created it were dying off. And they were still fighting about that. I'm like, you know, I was a hippie at the time. I'm like, of course we believe in reincarnation. But the difference was that some people believed that we had life after life after life after life, like in a sequence. And other people believed that actually it's all happening at the same time. because the understanding is that time and space is a gentleman's agreement, if you will, that it's not actually real. We just pretend it is, and then we all act like it is, right? And so at that point, when I heard those two arguments, I'm like, same, who cares, you know? So we do believe, actually, in the ongoingness of our evolutionary divine being. And so we believe that, yes, we're located in a personality self right here, but that within us is something that is eternal, that is always and ever expanding, and that is moving us in the direction of our goodness, of our fundamental goodness all the time. So what this has to do with living beautifully, for me, is understanding that actually we came into this particular time-space continuum already loaded with what we had been evolved into up to that point. And that divine spark, that fire in us, came in as like a seed. And the seed of that divinity, that understanding, doesn't crack open unless we work with it. You know, and so we can live our whole life focused entirely on our personality self. What that would mean, at least for me personally, I don't know about you, is a lot of unhappiness. Because at the personality level of our experience, you may have noticed, it's not easy. It's all over the map. We have good days, we have bad days, we have really, really bad days, we have really, really joyous days, and we get really, really, really attached at the personality level to the good and not the bad. And so we suffer. Have you noticed that? So when things are going really bad, we're suffering. When things are going really good, we're afraid that they're going to go really bad, and so often we suffer then too. And so, the trick of the spiritual path, it's not really a trick, it's the beauty of a spiritual path, whatever your path is to be landed in a different place in this lifetime than just the personality. The personality, and you have one and I have one, and they're charming, mostly. There's a few people who haven't figured the charming part out. But there's something more. And it's only when we begin to engage that seed of divinity that we are, with the purpose, the intention that we carried forward into this space-time continuum, begins to express itself more fully. It's trying. But until we really engage it, it's like over here in a corner going, you actually were here for a different purpose than buying things on Amazon. Hello. Black Friday doesn't actually exist in the spiritual realm. So we work with it. And so for me, understanding this very basic concept, I'm sure you've all encountered some idea like this along the path. It's important to understand what we're trying to do here. What are we actually doing here? And yeah, the personality self is in charge of making money and creating safety and having a place to live and food and the survival things. That's the personality level. And it's also involved in community. It wants to be in community. No sacred human I know, really, even the most introverted, can live without some form of connection to others. And so the personality self is involved in generating this lifetime and what we do with it. When we add that spark, we begin to have a whole different experience of all of that and so much more. And so I would imagine if I was sitting in the audience, I'd be thinking, well, okay, I probably have already connected with my divine spark, but let's say I have a neighbor who hasn't, obviously, and I want to help them on their spiritual path. What would I do? First of all, don't talk to them. But second of all, if they asked you, and only if they asked, you could say that the way this divine spark is ignited in this lifetime is through the imagination. Believe it or not. That the imagination is our tool for moving from just living an outer life and invoking this deeper sense of self and purpose and meaning. And so what does that mean? Well, I was thinking about how to talk about that. And I've told the story so many times I'm reluctant to tell it, so I'll just give you the Reader's Digest version. I'm old enough to remember those. So Michael Meade tells a story, and I'm sure you've heard it. It's a wonderful story about there's a place in the world that people try to find all the time, and it's so hidden that no matter where they look, it's very, very difficult to find. And what this place is this incredible cave that's hidden away, and in that cave is an old, old, old woman, way older than me, centuries old. And she has been knitting the most beautiful garment in the world for as long as she can remember. And at her side, I now appreciate this story even more, is a black dog. And at the back of the cave, at the far back of the cave, her other duty is to stir the seeds of all possibility that the world could manifest. And so every once in a while, she gets up from her chair, moves very slowly, because she's centuries old, to the back of the cave and stirs the seeds so that all the seeds of possibility are made available to sacred humans everywhere. So one day, she is almost complete with this garment. And she's been working on it for so long that she's now just at the trim. And so she's been biting off porcupine quills with her teeth, and so they're all down to nubs, and then weaving those porcupine quills into the trim of this beautiful, beautiful garment. It's glorious. And she's so intent on that she forgets about the seeds for a minute, and then all of a sudden she remembers. So she as much as she could, she leaps up from the chair, puts the garment down, and moves to the back of the cave to stir the seeds. Well, the dog, for whatever reason, becomes curious about this garment and goes over while she's in the back and starts smelling the garment and finds a loose thread and thinks that it would be really interesting to pull on the thread. And before she can come back, that dog has pulled apart the entire creation. And she comes back. This is the main point of the story. She comes back, and she's stunned that this incredible, beautiful thing that she was creating for who knows how long is now in a pile of yarn and porcupine quills and other things. And she stands there for a minute, and she looks up, and she gets this huge smile on her face. And she sits down and begins to weave together the next most beautiful, even more beautiful garment that she's now created in her mind. And this is the power that you and I have. Some of you have actually deeply experienced this. If you've gone through a change of life where a job ends or a beloved partner dies or leaves, or you've moved from one place to another, whether you wanted to or not, you're at the place where the woman was standing there, and everything that was created is now in a pile, in moving boxes for some. And yet we move on. And the way we move on, this is the piece I want to pull out of that story, is that place where the imagination comes in. And even in the midst of destruction or despair or fear or whatever the personality self is experiencing, the deeper self sees the opening for something even more incredible and opens to that. And as that is invited in, all of a sudden everything transforms again into possibility. And this literally is how we walk in the world when we're connected to the deeper self. Because the nature of this planet, the nature of our bodies, the nature of our relationships is about impermanence. Things are constantly changing. And as they change, the personality self wants to cling and be attached. I was preparing this talk this morning, I was thinking about this really difficult part of the documentary. I don't know if you saw the documentary about Jane Goodall. How many of you saw that? Wow. It was an eye-opener for me. And one of the parts that was most difficult for me was this mother chimpanzee had this baby, and the baby became unnaturally attached to the mother, which I didn't know happened in the animal world. And so the mother, she's humoring this kid as she's going along, but, it's like honor and wanting her to feed it and wanting her to do everything. And eventually she has another one, and this one gets jealous and she's pushing it away because it wants to nurse and the other one's nursing. And so the documentary goes on watching this very, very unnaturally attached chimpanzee, and the mother dies, and that chimpanzee climbs up into a nest it had made in a tree and dies, refuses to eat until it dies. I was so disturbed by that for so long because it's like, oh my God. And I finally had to ask myself, okay, what is it about that? And I was like, well, there's a part of me that's like that, There's a part of me that's very attached to the things that I've created and very attached to the people that I love and very attached in various ways. And it forced me to say, wow, where am I like that? Where am I like that? And what it takes to let go at a deeper level is this imaginative, creative mind that we have at our disposal all the time. And one of the most interesting things to me about utilizing that to live into the spiritual path is that that's where our purpose actually resides. That's where we actually know, without actually knowing, but know at a heart level who we are and what we're meant to bring into the world. And I think only living from that place do we escape the rounds of suffering that we experience at the personality level to a certain extent. Oh, we feel it. I mean, when someone I love dies, someone recently just died, and it was tragic and it was horribly sad, and I was very, very sad about it. And I could also lean into that creative mind, knowing for myself, what am I to do in this situation? And knowing for the other person that they're an evolving soul. And as much as I think they should be here, they had a different plan going on, and so they left. And I don't mean that flippantly. I mean, I really do think that our soul has an agenda here. And that divine spark we share inside of us is part of the agenda. So there's a myth that Michael Meade speaks about in Awakening the Soul that I found really interesting on this topic, or at least this is my closing point. He talks about one of the greatest scenes in all mythology, which appears in depictions of the deceased person arriving in the other world and entering the hall of Maat, the goddess of truth. This is in Egypt. In ancient Egypt, Maat personified the concepts of truth, justice, and order in the world. The quintessential symbol of Maat was a single ostrich feather known as the feather of truth. Right after a person died, their heart would be placed on one side of a scale to be weighed against the single feather of Maat. If a person had lived a life that was in tune with their own soul, their heart would be unburdened and thus would be light enough to be in balance with the feather of truth. If that were the case, the person had realized the nobility of their soul and could pass on to the afterlife. On the other hand, if the heart of the deceased was heavily burdened because they had not lived out their soul life intended, had done serious harm, or simply died with too many unfinished issues, their soul's burdens would outweigh the feather of truth. In that case, a strange creature named the devourer would consume the burdened heart, and the deceased would have to go back and begin life over again. In Egyptian myth, the heart was the key to both life on earth and life hereafter. And, for me, that was a very poignant way of speaking to this thing where we come in already with so much to bring and a purpose in taking form in this particular time and space continuum. But as we come in, we're sort of forgetful of that, and it takes us a while, usually, but not everybody, to kind of awaken to the fact that we actually are here to bring something, that we're actually, I would put it this way, that we're actually a gift at this particular time and space. And then once we have been told that, then the job for all of us is to figure out, well, what is that? What have I brought? I'm not aware of it. I don't know me in that way. Now there are exceptions to this rule. Every single enlightened person that I've read about or encountered, including the great masters that we always hear about, Buddha and Jesus and Lao Tzu and all those folks, all of them, I suspect, came into their spark earlier than some of us. Some were actually born not forgetting at all. And most were sort of moved along for whatever reason into a full awakening before we even were kind of like, I might be here for some reason, which for me happened like late teens, early 20s. The point is, the way through this, the way to touch in deeply to who we are and what we're bringing is through our imaginative gifts, is through our creative mind, is through the place where we don't allow ourselves to be so stopped by our attachments, so trapped by them, so caught in the cycle of suffering, that we can actually use the capacities we've been given to dream our life into something much deeper, much more meaningful, much more purpose-driven, and also just more fun. Because the suffering doesn't have the same hook. It's there, but we're not caught in it anymore. We're the old woman. Sad, but then, an opportunity here. So I don't know where you are. I have a feeling some of you are at the garment being destroyed place. I know several of you who are now in the creative process of like, I could actually do life differently. And so as a community, we're also there. We're like, what we have been doing is going to change. But what could we do as a community? Almost anything. You guys are so incredibly great and so good together, you could do almost anything. So I'm excited for all of us to move into the next creative stage. So I'll do a prayer for your creative stage and mine, and then we'll move into the rest of our day. Within me, and within every sacred human, lies the seed of perfection, the indwelling presence, the divine spark, waiting to fire us through our imagination into a life that we've only thought about in our dreams. And now I know for myself, and I know for you, that awakened to that possibility, the sky is the limit. Indeed, there is no limit for what I can do and you can do connected to that divine presence within. And so I invoke that, knowing that it holds the truest sense of who I am at the deepest level of purposeful gifting into the world. And I allow my mind and my heart to blaze with inspiration, creativity, and the willingness to move forward free to create exactly that. As I open my mind and heart, new thoughts, new ideas, new people, new circumstances, new opportunities begin to arrive. And as I continue to hold my attention on the creation of this life, I say yes, and yes again, and yes again, and allow myself to be pulled in the direction of this creative power that is moving me. And in this way, my life is transformed. I am opened and deepened, and I am able, at a level never experienced before, to bring forward the gifts that I have brought. And this is not only a blessing that I can bestow, but it is a blessing bestowed on my personality self and on this lifetime that I'm living. My heart is light as a feather, and I am gifted by this opportunity again and again. So I am deeply grateful and really excited, and so it is. Thank you, everyone. All right, let's see. Before, I can't remember who my last speaker is for the Giving Intention program. Charlene, thank you. A little tired. So before the ushers come forward, I'm going to invite Charlene up. And this is our last week of the Giving Intention program, which is a program that I'll tell you more about. But Charlene's going to share why she gives to the center. Thank you.
Good morning. I actually give old school. Not much is old school anymore, but it feels good to put something in the basket for me. Besides the card, I'm sorry, it's just true. So I grew up a Christian, in a Christian family. And my dad was a Baptist minister. And I married a Pentecostal preacher. And I was his wife for 27 years. So I know a lot about giving. I know a lot about tithing. I know a lot about offerings. I even know about alms. Do you guys know what that word is?
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? So dutifully, I know about giving. Religiously, I know about giving. So late in my marriage, before it ended, I just hit this wall, and I said, you know what? Something's got to change here. This isn't right. And so I went on a spiritual journey, and through that time, all sorts of things came to me, and I was just delighted to know that we can actually be delighted in giving. It doesn't have to be a duty, right? And that's giving of our time, that's giving of our resources, that's giving intentionally, that's giving freely, just without, thought. And I'm excited to be part of this community because I've seen a lot of different things. I've been in a lot of different areas, and I've been here probably 7-8 years, but came off and on because of other responsibilities. I worked a lot of Sundays and such. So about a year ago, I decided this was home. And I plugged in, and now I'm involved. I'm involved in the music team. I'm involved in ushering and greeting. I enjoy the fundraisers. That's how I give as well as monthly. And I tell you, I've never been so enhanced and on fire. I went from a life of black and white to living life in color, vibrantly. And I just thank you for the spiritual food that you give me, and the community, the friendships, the wonderful activities. It's been an amazing time. And I just want to thank all of you. And I just say, give of your time, get involved, give of your resources, because this place needs that. This place needs all of us. And I just encourage you to do that, and believe me, you will have zero regrets.
Thank you. So the Giving Intention program, we're in the final week of it. I'm sure that's a relief to some of you because you've been hearing about it every week. We have a few of our only printed during this time newsletters. They're in the coffee room, classroom, on the Ask Me desk, and it tells you how we have used the money that everybody donated for this last year and kind of the plans for the immediate future. And so feel free to pick one of those up if you'd like. And then we also have this Giving Intention form. Looks like this. It's also available online. And the form is super simple. It's just letting us know what you would be willing to commit to giving for this next coming year. And it's not the amount per se, it's really the ability for our budget team to say, okay, we can afford to do this, but we can't afford to do that. Or, hey, we got so much, we can actually do everything we had planned. And so it's a real helpful tool to have every one of us who gives regularly fill this out and let us know your best estimate. What I love about our center is that there isn't like a dutiful thing that's attached to this. It's really just my perception, and I think many of you, is that we're in this together and that we support the center because nobody else does. We don't have a pope. And there's no stashed treasure somewhere else that's going to come our way necessarily. And so we're the ones responsible for keeping the lights on and paying for the senior minister and for the beautiful music team and everything else you see. So giving intentionally allows the budget team to be intentional with our resources as a community and not exceed what we have been told we can expect. So we were shooting for a goal of $201,000, which sounds like a heck of a lot, except when you look at 7.5 acres and everything we do, it's actually pretty reasonable. I had one minister who comes here go, that's all. I loved her. Yes, that's all. And we're close. We're not as close as I'd love to be, but Claire took this week off, so I can't give you a total number. But right before she left, she said we had about 40,000 more to go to meet that goal. And she also had a request. You know, she's kind of actually, I'm not the boss. So she had a request. There are many of us who give, but for whatever reason, shy away from filling out one of these forms. And yet we give consistently every month the same amount. And you don't have to sign that form, but if you're one of those people listening or here, if you could let her know that that's going to continue, she'll include it in the amount so that we know how close we are to our budget, because our budget team meets in 2 weeks. And we'll do what you do. If we see that we're not making as much, then we'll cut. If we see we're okay, we'll keep. So that's what the Giving Intention program is. And now I'll invite Carol and Andrea to come forward, and we'll have our offertory. And thank you, as I always say and mean, for all the support you give this community. It's astonishingly beautiful, really.
Even now I am able, even now I am free, even now I can feel the Spirit Even now I am whole. Even now I can feel the Spirit deep down in my soul. Even now I can choose a path of peace and harmony. Even now I am free. Let's sing it one more time. Even now I'm able. Even now I am able. Even now I am free. Even now I can feel the Spirit washing over me. Even now I can find the love in everyone I see. Even now I am free. Even now I am
free. And even now, we have the transition team telling us what's going on, and Miss Ronna Biggs is going to be the representative today. Yay!
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Ronna Biggs, and I'm a practitioner here. I'm also serving as an adjunct board member and on the transition team. So it is the first Sunday in December, and as per tradition, I'll give a little bit of an update. And we are very excited to share that the Reverend Dr. Bob Dean, you may have seen that announcement, will be serving as our interim minister. So we're super excited to welcome Dr. Bob to our community. I'm pretty sure that Dr. Bob is watching right now. So if you want to turn to the camera, give a little wave and say, "Hi, Dr. Bob." He has no idea what he's gotten himself into. I'm pretty sure. But he sent some great pictures, and so there's a couple of pictures just to help you get to know who Dr. Bob is a little bit more. There's a great picture in the upper right of Dr. Bob and his granddaughter at teen camp. And I don't know if you can read the signs that they say, but the arrow that he's holding says, "I love her," and the arrow that she's holding, pointing towards him, says, "He smells." So I think there's a good sense of humor going on there, which is going to just fit right in. So a couple of notes to share. December is really about continuing to celebrate and recognize Dr. Andrea. And so our celebration and recognition team, they are gearing up with some events, particularly looking at Sunday, December 29th, our last Sunday with Dr. Andrea as our senior minister. So do keep watching the constant contact announcements, the newsletters, the emails that are going out, and that'll give you a little bit more detail as time goes on, as the month goes on. And also, if you're not signed up to get those weekly email announcements or those special announcements, you can go online still and sign up for those, or check in at the Ask Me desk for that. So December is really going to be about celebrating and recognition. And then as January rolls around, we're going to welcome Dr. Bob to our community early on. And so in January, Reverend Deborah in particular and Dan, President Dan, are helping work with Bob to get his rotation and his schedule kind of in play, travel lined up, lodging lined up, all of that kind of good stuff. What we know in January is that Dr. Bob will be our speaker straight out the gate. So those first 2 Sundays in January, the 7th and the 14th, Dr. Bob will be here. And that first weekend, we're really going to do some anchoring with him with our 2 leadership groups. So the first Saturday that he's here, the Board of Trustees is going to get connected with Dr. Bob. And then the Sunday, the 7th, after service, is a natural time for the practitioners to meet. And so he really wants to get connected to the practitioner core. And so that'll be after service. service with just the practitioner group on that first Sunday. And then what we do want to do is to think about how we start to expand those connection circles. And so we'll look to that second weekend that he's here to really think about a community event that's more of a good meet and greet where we all have an opportunity a little more formally or informally. We'll talk with Dr. Bob and make some plans about that. But we'll kind of work outward a little bit because he needs to get set up to work. And so he'll have some, speaking of who runs the place, Clara's going to need to be involved. So Clara is going to be an important conversation to set up to think about how administratively and what Dr. Bob's going to need to work while he's here, and then certainly with President Dan and the board to get set up as needed. So we'll just keep rolling along, but that's kind of what January is looking like. And the communications team is also doing some great work. They're helping to set up a website that's going to have information, and Philip's leading with that. There's going to be a little bit more update to the display in the classroom, and then, of course, as the communications come out, a bit more online. So I'll be around after service. Rev Deborah's here. President Dan's here. So please ask us questions if you have any, but thank you so much, and we'll keep rolling. So thank you.
Thank you. So just so you know, Dr. Bob and I have been friends for 30 years. So we were seemingly not given a choice, but behind the scenes, since I work for home office also, they sort of said, well, you have a couple choices. If you were to choose, who would that be? Well, Dr. Bob, of course. So just so happens he was the only one available. I don't know. He is a really nice man. And he, like me, has spent years and years and years working with the teen groups for our organization. So there's nothing like working with teenagers consistently to open your heart and your mind and drop attachment. One of my favorite age groups, actually, and for years and years, I don't know if you knew this about me, for 25 years, I ran the entire youth program for our organization, and now Bob's in one of the leadership roles. So I think you're going to enjoy the change, and I also want to remind you that that's just one of the pieces of the transition, and you'll notice the layout in the coffee room sort of shows where we're going once Dr. Bob is here. That's just the first step, really. And then we move in the direction of finding a new senior minister down the road a piece. So it's an interesting and powerful time for all of us in community. And I hope you will stick with us and be part of it, because I think it'll be exciting and challenging the spiritual nature in just the right way. So announcements-wise, already heard about that. So this is your last chance today to register for Meeting Change with Resilience, which is being taught by Cindy Clay, one of our practitioners, and a brand new ministerial student. And this has been offered a couple times. It is very, very useful in your personal life, but it's also useful to support the community in moving forward with resilience in this change, so that we don't just walk away and go, I don't want to deal with that. I got too much going on. But instead, we can work with it. So feel free. It is absolutely free. Just bring your lunch and have a really glorious time. But we do need you to sign up because there's materials that you'll receive. Tomorrow we're making a dough for the unhoused. Several of you have signed up to take the dough home and bake it. We could use a few more bakers. We've got all the ingredients. Thank you so much to all of you. And if you haven't brought those ingredients, you could bring them from 10 to 2 tomorrow, or you can bring them at 2 when we're beginning to put together the dough. And thank you so much. We really are so grateful. And then this coming week, I am the speaker for our Spirit at Work group. This is a group who are entrepreneurs, managers, business owners who come together to support each other in running their business from a spiritual perspective. And so I couldn't think of a better topic than to talk about the atmosphere of our business, meaning what what are we bringing to it, and how does it feel in the world and to our clients? So it'll be interesting. And next week we have women's group happening at noon, and then in the classroom we have the men's group. And that evening we have Tabor.
Yeah, if you have not joined us for the Community Song Circle, I encourage you to just come try it out. We've had consistently about 20 or 25 people come sing in Circle. You're welcome to bring a song to share, but I hold the container, and really we drop into a lot of play, also some like meditative music, but the point is just to raise our voices together and really have a joyful time, and also a lot of like heart balm to sing together.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And then we have invited Rita Johnson back this year. Rita discovered her purpose and that divine spark. She is Peruvian, but she lives in Ferndale. And when she would go back to her home country, the women there don't have access to cancer care when they've been diagnosed with breast cancer. And so she realized that what she could do is have the women make things, bring them here, sell them, and then bring the money back to them so that they could receive the care they needed in going through that cancer journey. So she's bringing all of her wonderful stuff from Peru on the 15th, and she'll be set up in the classroom. And these are lovely holiday gift giving ideas, lots of warm stuff made of llama fur and or hair or whatever it is. And so we wanted to let you know that's happening. And I just wanted to also remind you that we have a winter solstice service on December 21st happening, and also a Christmas Eve candlelighting where we'll have jingle bells and carols and the choir singing. So mark your calendar, bring people if that feels right. All right, well, why don't we stand for Abel and we'll sing our way into the day. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay, one last thing. You can keep standing. It's fine. The Women's Circle has had a tradition for many, many years. The December meeting is a gift giving, and it's a special gift giving. You bring something that you love but you no longer need or want as a gift for another woman to take. So if you're planning to come, bring a gift, and then you'll receive one. Okay, now we stand.
For the sun that warms this body, for the earth that we call home, for the love that knows no boundary, I am thankful. For the sea that lines the mountains, for the sea and life it holds, for the source of inspiration, I am thankful. Love, light, fill me up. Love, light, life, fill me up. Peace, power, beauty, joy, fill me up. For the one infinite, divine that is and ever was, I am thankful. I am thankful for abundance and growing, for the mystery unfolding, for each and every being, sacred truth we are knowing, for kindness and compassion and the courage to take action, for the law of attraction and the freedom to create. Love, light, life, fill me up. Peace, power, beauty, joy, fill me up. For the one infinite, divine that is and ever was, I am thankful. I am thankful for the sun that warms his body, for the earth that we call home, for the love that knows no boundaries, I am thankful. So much gratitude for this community. Thank you for being a part of it. We'll see you again soon.